A few weeks ago, I was challenged by Rob at Let's Make Things. I'll put a link to his channel right up here. He's been making a bunch of small palm-sized awls with short steel, and I'm using nails. And he challenged me to, being a woodturner, he challenged me to come up with my own design on an awl. So I'm going to do just that, except I'm going to do mine a little bit different. The handle's going to be a little bit longer, and I'm going to use a bit of a larger nail, and I will actually grind more of an awl point on this. It'll be an all-purpose awl, but it can also be a scratch awl. Anyway, I've got alternating pieces. I haven't glued them together or anything yet. I've got alternating pieces of Arizona ash and quarter sawn red oak. And what I'm going to do now is I've drawn a design on, and I've got them glued. I've got a pair glued up, I've got 3 glued up, and I've got another pair. And I've drawn a curved design, and I'm going to take those to my scroll saw, and I'm going to cut these out and alternate them and glue them back together, and then I'll glue the individual pieces together after I get the nail glued into the center piece. So let's start off by getting over to the scroll saw, which is right there, and get this done. Okay, I've got my new high-def webcam sitting here, and I think it's going to be just fine. Let's give it a try. I have to go a little slower with this one. It's 3 pieces thick. These don't have to be perfect. I got off the lines, no big deal. These are my own lines. The only thing that matters is when I take these apart, put that here, put that here, put that there. They'll go here pretty nice. I'm going to have to do a little bit of sanding because these two fit almost perfect, and these two fit perfect. So I'll be gluing this up like this and this up like this, and so it'll be staggered oak and ash. So when I'm ready to glue those up, I'll come back to the big camera. Okay, this isn't very scientific, and this is going to be on the outside. There's more slop in this piece than any of the others, but this will be on the outside and it'll mostly be turned away. What I'm going to do is run a bead of medium thick brown CA on here. I'm going to spray this piece with activator. And I'm going to hold that for a few minutes and let it set up. And before it's all said and done, I'll make sure that that crack is completely filled with this brown CA. So now I'll move this out of the way, and I'll do the same thing to this one. Now let these set up overnight, because I want to make sure that the bond is nice and strong before I scrape one side and then run them through the drum sander. Okay, I've got these all sanded up and glued back together so they don't look bad. I used brown CA to accent the crack, actually. So now what I need to do is I need to take this center piece, because I'm going to epoxy this nail in here. So I need to trace that onto here, figure out how deep I want to do it, trace that where it's going to go, and cut that out with my scroll saw. I may just actually take this to the grinder and grind a flat on both sides of the thickness of this, then it'll fit perfectly in here. So let me get that done and I'll come back. Okay, I've got that cut so that the nail fits in there just fine. The only thing I need to do now is take it to my grinder and make these flat here. Okay, I've got this ground down so that it fits in here perfectly. I'll now epoxy this in, and then I will put the rest of these together with wood glue. Okay, let's get this glued up. I want this filled with the epoxy. Because I don't want it coming loose. Now I want this relatively flat this way, so I'm going to line these up. It's not going to be perfect. Just want it close. That will work. So now I'm going to let this sit in the clamps overnight, and then we'll get it turned tomorrow. Okay, I've got this glued up and squared up. I'm going to chuck it up using the nail. I have not shaped the end yet. I'll do that after I turn the handle. I'm also going to put a brass ferrule on the end of it to help keep it from splitting, and I'll show you that in a minute. See how it runs? Not bad. Okay, I got good clearance. I cut this brass ferrule from a 7.62 casing. So I will turn the end of this down to this in just a bit. About 1500 RPM. I really like how this screwdriver fits my hand, so I'm going to mimic this shape. That's where I need to be. Find this end because it's a little rough. Okay, I just measured in my low point. It's going to be about right there. this. It feels good. I like it. I like it. Now, before I do anything else to this, it's kind of wicked. It didn't come out exactly as I had envisioned. I don't know what I envisioned. I just wanted it different. I want to make sure that this fits on here. And it almost does. Now what I'll do is I'll take this over to my bench and I will epoxy this on. Okay, I moved the camera. I think this is going to be a better placement for from where I had it. The epoxy's had time to dry, so I want to trim this ferrule. I don't want to get it too hot because it'll break it loose from the epoxy. Like that. It broke it loose from the epoxy. Dad blast it. So what this means is I need to let it cool off, re-epoxy it, and which means I have to wait till tomorrow again to try to finish it. Okay, I've got this shaped about the way I want it. This part here anyway. So I've rough sanded it on my belt sander and I need to clean and polish that up some. So I'm going to start with 120. And that's good enough. Nice and sharp. So I've got a little bit of shaping I want to do down here on this end. I'm going to put a couple coats of sanding sealer on it. 1 pound cut of shellac. And then I'm going to finish it with Howard feed and wax. But before I do that, I'm going to use Axe abrasive paste on it. I'm going to let this coat dry now, and I'll put another coat on in a few minutes. And this Axe abrasive paste should work on this brass too. Towel's coming back clean for that little bit of extra finish and extra protection. I love this stuff. Now I'll come back in 20 minutes like it says and buff this out. Just buff it up. So what do you think? I like it. I wasn't sure what to expect for how it was going to look, but all in all, I like it. I don't care about this hole in the back. This is a shop tool, but and I think the finish is going to protect it well enough. I can always add more shellac to it if I need to. And all this from a couple of scrap pieces of all this, get it? From a couple of scrap pieces of Arizona ash that I had milled up and some quarter sawn red oak. Long nail. I forget what size it was. I think it'll make a perfect awl. So here you go, Rob. Challenge answered. Not sure what you expected, but I'm not sure what I expected. A little shop-made awl made of some scraps of Arizona ash, quarter sawn red oak. The ash was quarter sawn as well, and some scrolling. And anyway, there's my awl.